Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. It is truly a tropical Tuesday today. Today I'll be working on my very first bonsai. It's a Ficus microcarpa that I grew from a seed 30 years ago. I was bringing the tree outside today because it's a beautiful warm day and I had trouble fitting the canopy through the doorway. And so I've really got to think about this tree now. My intention was to have, this is probably the largest tree in my collection. And I was thinking of just growing it out this summer, thickening of the trunk and branch structure up, and, it would probably double the size of the canopy over the summer. And then I was thinking, well, on the other hand, if I grow it slowly and carefully, I'll get a better branch structure. And so I think my philosophy has always been to do what's best for the tree, and that is usually grow them out slowly and carefully, keeping all the branch structure under control, and I think you get a really nice quality tree in the end if you're patient. And I'm patient. I mean, I'm projecting, I'm projecting 10 years into the future now, thinking, well, if I keep growing this canopy out, it won't even fit in a truck. Yeah, I think today I'm going to do pruning. I'm going to do structural pruning to get all this structure in order and maybe start creating some of those layers in the canopy. I'm really looking forward to working on the tree today. I think it'll be quite exciting. The tree is growing in a large plastic bonsai pot, and this pot was a gift from Mari and Jerome of the Bonsai Supply. So thanks, Mari and Jerome. I'm going to begin today by giving the tree a good watering. It's been indoors all winter and I've been watering it, fairly carefully, but I want to give it a good thorough soaking so it's running out the drainage holes to flush any excess salts from the fertilizer out. Just give it a good rain. All right, here I go. This is nice rainwater. If you ever want to make your trunk look skinny on a tree, just grow a giant canopy like this. It tends to make it look very slim. All right, that is a good soaking. If I rotate the tree around to the side view, you can see how much the canopy's grown. This side was facing the window for the last part of winter, and it's just grown really incredible. So I've got to kind of even out the canopy, and I also noticed that there's a bit of scale insects on the back side of the tree. So those are two things I'll fix as a first step for today. If I rotate it around, I can see some of the leaves are sticky, and there's a few scale insects on this side. The leaves on a ficus are usually fairly shiny, but if you see the extra shine, like down here, where it's kind of glossy, you can see there's scale insects on that branch. I'll show you a close-up of that. Right here, try and get in the sun there. You can see the little blisters on the branch here. The leaves are sticky and shiny. That's a problem. So luckily, it hasn't spread to the rest of the tree yet. So I'll prune off these sticky branches, which are sticking out too far anyway, and then I'll inspect the tree and give it a spray with soap and water. It's nice to catch a scale problem like this early when it's only on a couple of branches. You can prune the branches off, spray the tree, inspect it carefully for scale, and that should make your scale problems disappear. I'll begin the pruning, and I'll prune off these branches with the scale on them. And I'll put these in a plastic bag that should kill the scale insects. That is getting most of them off the tree. Now there'll still be crawling ones on the branches, so that's why you have to spray it with soap and water. I think there's different stages of the scale insect. There's crawling insects, then there's the ones that make the hard shells, and so you've got to scrape the shells off and spray for the crawling insects. I'm examining the branches now, just looking for blisters of scale insects. And if I find some, like here's one right here, I scrape it off, and then I get my soap and water, 40 parts water to 1 part liquid dish soap, and I just spray the branches. And you just have to, work on the tree slowly. It's looking quite good. I'm not seeing any more scale on it. I think I've got most of it removed now. Now it's decision time. Where am I going next with this tree? So what I want is I want to start getting the layers in the branches. So separation, so it's not just one big green dome canopy. I want to get some branch separation. So that usually involves, some major pruning, getting rid of, all the branches that are kind of growing up into other branches, flattening the branch structure out. So I've got to decide, do I want to defoliate or not? Usually when you bring a ficus from indoors, it's been growing indoors, to outdoors, all the indoor leaves, they burn. They were grown with a certain light level, and then suddenly you bring them out and it's like 5 times as bright, and those leaves burn. And even if you place a tree in the shade, I find the leaves do fine in the shade, but then when you slowly transition it to the sun, those leaves tend to burn anyway. You get new outdoor leaves growing in, which kind of take over as the foliage on the tree. But I find those old indoor leaves tend to burn off no matter what you do, eventually. So I'm thinking defoliation today. And then, give it a good structural pruning. Put it in the greenhouse for the, until fall. So it's pretty early in the season right here to put tropical trees outside. And we do have some cold weather coming this weekend. But I can heat the greenhouse for those couple of days. And I think it would be beneficial for this tree to keep it outside in the sunlight, have those new leaves grow in. I think it'd be a big step forward for this tree, even though, I'm at the stage right now where if I put this tree out in the summer and let it grow, it would, like I said, the canopy would probably double in size. My trunk would get really, really thick. But, there's a size that you should work towards on your bonsai. And, for me, I've always said I've got to fit it in my car to take it to shows and that. I don't want a tree so big. I have trouble getting through doorways and things like that. So I think I'm happy with the size of the tree. I could grow the canopy a little wider for sure, but I don't think I'd want to go much taller and not a whole lot wider. And I'll definitely keep the front and back dimension of the canopy slimmer so I can get it through doorways. And that's kind of how I grow them anyway, in that oval-shaped canopy from, if you look down from above. So I think, I think today that the next step is to defoliate the tree. Defoliating a smaller tree is a quite simple and quick operation. I have a feeling this is going to take me a while. There is a lot of leaves on this tree. I'm wondering too, should I do a profile prune first and then defoliate? I'm thinking so. Why defoliate, branches and that are outside of the profile? I might as well prune them off first and then defoliate. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll get out the blue scissors, do my topiary profile prune, then I'll come in and defoliate, and then start branch selection and refinement. I'll place the tree on a turntable before I begin the pruning. It'll make it a lot easier. I've got my spinning tree bonsai turntable from Adrian out. I'll put a block of wood on top because this is a large pot. There I go. Now I can spin the tree around as I work on it. It'll make it a lot easier. All right, I'll begin now. So this is the front of the tree. I've got to imagine my shape. So here I go. I'll start at the top and just pruning through, ruthlessly pruning through everything, leaves, branches, just to get the overall canopy shape in check. These are just ordinary scissors. I just use long ones because it's good for shaping the tree. They're almost like head shears. Bit off here. Okay. Check the other side view. Hey, spinning around on me. So there's the other side view. Get off there. It's looking pretty good. So I think the overall profile is looking good right now. I think it looks like a mature tropical tree. It has that beautiful umbrella canopy. Yeah, looks quite nice. So now I can defoliate the tree. I like to defoliate by cutting the leaves off individually, cutting through the little leaf stalk or petiole about halfway through them. That way you're not damaging. If you tear the leaves off, you could damage the dormant bud at the base of each leaf. So that's why I like to cut them off. Here's a close-up of cutting it off. So I just cut it right about halfway there. It's a good idea to keep the soap and water on hand as you're doing this, because you're going to be, there's another one, you're going to be looking at each branch, and it's a good opportunity to clean them of scale. And scale is always a problem with ficus. Usually once the tree goes outdoors in the summer, your scale problems go away, because there's natural predators that keep them under control. But in the plant room indoors, they can get out of hand really quickly. So you've always got to be watching for them and getting rid of them before it becomes a major problem. Once you've noticed it's a major problem, it's often too late. The tree just gets too weak, and even if you clean the scale off, it still dies on you. I've had that happen, where I've put off cleaning the scale insects off, and then the tree just gets worse and worse, and then you think, okay, I better get to it. And then when you finally do clean it all the scale off, the tree just is too weak and it just dies. It was too late. So, you know, that's how you learn in bonsai. Usually the hard way. But those lessons last with you. So yeah, as I defoliate each branch, I'm spraying it, inspecting it. My ficus probably thought, oh, I finally get to go out in the sunshine. And then I go and defoliate it. Poor tree. These scale insects can also really slow the growth of your tree down. I can remember early on when I was, you know, just into bonsai a few years, I had a ficus that was quite dense, and it just didn't grow all summer. And I remember asking everyone else, you know, is your ficus growing this summer? It's because mine's not. And they said, yeah, mine's growing really well. And I thought, well, it can't be the weather. So I started looking in the canopy, and then I found it was all in the interior had scale insects. So I thought, oh, maybe that's why. So I cleaned all the scale insects off, got a toothbrush and got it, the whole tree clean. And then within a couple of weeks, it started growing like crazy. So it didn't take a whole lot of scale insects, and it just zapped the vigor of the tree. So it was just barely growing the entire summer. So I basically wasted an entire summer of growing for these silly scale insects, because I just didn't know what I was doing at that time. So yeah, the moral of the story is that if you have scale insects, they will definitely slow the growth of the tree down, and you don't want that. You want to maximize your growth each summer. I mean, these poor trees stay indoors all winter. They only get outside in the summer, and that's when you want to grow them. So that's kind of why I'm doing this work now. bring the tree back, defoliate it, so then it can then grow all summer. It is the most beautiful day today. I'm just enjoying being outside, listening to the birds sing. I just love it. It's just fantastic to be out here working on a tropical tree in April. So as I'm doing all this leaf pruning, I'm also looking at the structure of the branches. And I'm seeing a lot of branches that need pruning, and some of them some fairly hard pruning on them. I'll show you all the structure when it's leaf pruned. You'll get a good look at the tree, the naked tree, and I think it'll become fairly obvious some of the branches that need pruning. Oh, here comes the train. I was looking at the tree here. It's partially defoliated, and I was thinking that would be interesting in a bonsai show if you had a windswept design, and if the wind's coming this direction, all the leaves on this side of the tree were stripped off by the wind, and then you had the trees on the, is that the leeward side of the wind? So that it still had its leaves on this side of the tree. I think that would be a very interesting look for a show tree if you had a nice windswept style. So I hope someone does that in the future, and send me a picture of it if you do. I'd love to see that, because I can kind of see it in this tree right now. It looks windswept. Looks kind of cool. Jay from Blue Jay Bonsai has blue jays as his theme. I could have crows, I think. I have a lot of crows in this area. And crows are my favorite bird too. There's another look at my wind-blown ficus. All the leaves stripped off in a hurricane. Uh-oh. This could be the zombie apocalypse. I gotta keep my eyes out for zombies. So we've had a train come through. We've had the sirens. An airplane, I think, the one time. Pretty normal day here. So the next workshop at Tropical Expressions is Brazilian rain trees. So I've got the rain trees picked out for the workshop. They're fantastic trees. It'll be an exciting workshop. I'm really looking forward to it. I really enjoy doing the workshops. I really enjoy meeting everyone and talking about bonsai. And it's been about an hour now, so I've got most of the tree defoliated. I'm just working on the last branches here. You can see all the leaves on the surface of the soil and down on the ground here. A lot of leaves taken off. I am down to the last few leaves. Sure are lots of branches to pick from when I go to prune this tree. Okay, last leaf to come off. Here I go. The tree is defoliated. I'll give the tree a good spray with soap and water, and then we'll come back and evaluate the design of the tree. I've got all the leaves and debris cleaned up around the tree. The soap and water is soaked in for a few minutes, so now I'll rinse it all off. I'm stepping back, having an overall look at the tree. So my first impression is that it's very whippy. The branches kind of start off skinny, and they don't really, they're all kind of the same thickness. There's no, there's a few branches that start off thick at the base, but they all kind of are skinny all the way out to the tip. It almost looks like a hedge that's just kind of been profile pruned all its life. There's no branch definition. There's a lot of places where there's multiple branches coming out from one spot. So I've got to make a lot of decisions. It's also, everything's sweeping upwards. Eventually it'll get branches coming off that'll be drooping as the canopy fills out. But I think right now it's just It's just dense. Dense with whippy branches. I think, as I said, I've got to get some layered structure in the tree. Yeah, so a lot of pruning work to do to sort out the structure. So I think what I'll do is I'll start off with the lower branches and then just kind of work up to the apex. I'm going to start with this branch to the left-hand side here. So it comes out from the trunk and then it divides many times in almost one spot. So I've got like a lower branch and an upper one here. I think I've got to prune off this one, keeping my lower branches. Trying to get, you know, a flatter branch structure to these lower branches. All right, so yeah, that branch, you know, I've got these lower branches. It's kind of just growing on top of the lower branches. So that one will be the first one to come off. They're beautiful branches, but got to sort them out. So here I go. That's gone. Just clean that up a little bit. Now, I also still have 3 branches coming from that one spot. So I have another one that grows upwards here. That could be removed. It's a beautiful branch, but I've got to remove it. I knew this day would come where I'd have to start doing some hard structural pruning. I'm just going to clip the branch away roughly at first. So here I go. So I can get in there. Aww. I'll try planting them as cuttings to make nice future trees. And then I'll smooth this cutout here. Yeah, get that branch all pruned nice and flush. Just a little deeper a cut here. There, that's perfect. So that branch should look a bit flatter now. It definitely does. It opens up a bit of space in here. I'm not done with the branch yet, but it's definitely an improvement. So now I come up, divide from 1 to 2. Now I've got 3 in this spot here. 3 divisions. So I've got to pick my best 2 branches. Well, I would say these 2 kind of come forward. This 3rd branch here kind of crosses over the branch behind it. So I think, if anything, that branch should come off. I'll just double check that. Yeah. I think the only problem with these 2 branches, they're a better direction, but there's one growing over top of another, which isn't so nice. So from the front view, it looks like this middle one should be the one that comes out. I think so. And then this one that's growing back here, kind of interfering with this branch, I'll have to develop this part of it, prune off the part that's crossing, and build my branch out towards this direction. So off comes that middle branch. Here I go. I'll roughly prune it off like that and then clean it up like that. So that's looking good. Really cleans it up. So you can see this is a whippy branch. It starts from this diameter. It tapers very slightly to the tip. There's no change of direction, no ramification. So ideally this branch should be shortened back, and I may end up, you know, bringing the whole canopy back on this tree. I think it needs it. It's just getting, these branches are too long and whippy. They don't have any muscle to them. They don't have any thickness at the base tapering. They kind of, yeah. So I'm going to take off that branch that's interfering here. Like that. That cleans up this interference a bit. So this branch divides from 1 to 2. There's an upright piece of growth here I could remove. Like that. So this one's got to be pruned. It's too long and straight. And I'm just trying to decide where. I want the branch to kind of grow out this direction. So I've got a bud way back here, one here. So I think for now, I'm going to do fairly drastic pruning back to here, and then I'll see what develops and maybe get something going in this direction. So here I go. Like that. Looking better. So out here on this branch I've got a division. It divides from 1 to 2 and then 2 again, but 1 is over top of the other one. So I'll prune off the upward growing one like that, and there's a stub here I can prune off. Then I should prune the tips back. And there's a vertical one growing, I'll take that off. Like that. The branch behind it here has the same. It has a division. It divides from 1 to 3, a trident. So I've got to pick my best branches. I think I'll keep the 2 flatter branches and take the upright one off. Like that. And then I'll prune them back. Like that. Now, there's still this part of the branch. It comes up. Has a lot of little skinny branches coming off from one spot. So I've got to decide what to keep and what to remove. Let me look from the front view. The current front anyway. Yeah, so there's a branch that's growing very tall here. I'm going to prune that off. So here I go. Just like that. And this part of the branch, there's a nice branch coming off down lower, and then there's an upper part. I think it's getting a little tall, so I'm going to remove the upper part. Like that, prune this back. Now I've got one coming from the bottom of the branch here. I don't really want to prune it back to that, I don't think. I mean, I could. And I probably should. I will. I've got 2 small branches coming kind of from this, flatter branches from this branch. I could prune the whole top off. And I will. It'll improve the taper, movement, and better branching. So here I go. Just like that. That actually looks really nice. Okay, so this whole first left-hand branch, lower branch, is now pruned up. I could do the tip here and maybe the tip off here. And that one's okay. Should be shortened. I have a division of 2 here, but you can see this branch is long without any movement or taper. I'm going to take it back a bit. Better in the future. Okay. Well, that looks really good. That really separates this branch from the upper structure. I think it's a good step ahead. I'll prune this one back here too. Okay, that's one branch pruned up. I sure like that. That's a big improvement. Now, the branch above it. So this branch is kind of horizontal, and as I go up the tree, I want them raising up and then going vertical in the crown. And this part does, you know, this one's horizontal, this one comes up. I like this part of it. I don't really like the part that comes down here. It is nice to get something coming out this direction though. Boy. I'm going to take off this thick upper part here and keep this as my branch leader. I think that'll be a big improvement. This one goes too vertical and it starts crowding the upper canopy here, so I'll take this one off. Here I go. That one's off, and I'll clean that up. Like that. Hopefully that looks better. Let me have a look. That looks much better. And then up here on the branch, I've got a more horizontal one here and then two that go upwards. I'm looking at that. Tough choice. I think, you know, this is the better branch. It's nice these divide up here, but I think they're too high. They're starting to get up in the canopy. I want this as, you know, the low branch intermediate. So I'm going to sacrifice a bit of ramification to keep the branch a little more horizontal. And it'll give me something to work on with this branch. Now it divides way out here. Ideally I should prune it back a bit further. Yeah, it's just getting too sprawling. I'll take it back to here. Done. Big changes. There's a little branch developing at the base of this other branch here, and I left it on last time. I kind of like having something in here. I'll think about that one. I'll think about it. So the branch here, this one, the other division of this one, it's getting quite long. It should be ideally shortened, I think. Well, let's prune back this one, this one. That's a step ahead. And then I could take the top off this one. I've got a nice branch division lower, so I'll do that. Like that. Prune these back. And I got a vertical part here I can take off. And a dead branch here. Take that back a little further. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Not real keen at this branch direction. I'm going to prune it back a little further. Try it to there. I think that's got this branch kind of cleaned up now. Yeah. Now I've got a new shoot in here. Remember how I said everything was too cluttered? You know, you want to see these powerful branches, separation between the branches, and then getting finer towards the tip. And I've got this whip in here that is kind of between some major branches, and I think it just fills in a space that I need there. So I'm going to remove that one. So here I go. Gone. Yeah, I think that kind of cleans out the tree a bit. Doesn't look so jammed and cluttered. Because, you know, mature trees in nature, they don't have a lot of fine foliage really deep in by the trunk. It's all these major thick branches coming off, so gives it a more mature look, I think. So next, I'm going to tackle the branch on the right-hand side next, this one coming up. I'm stepping back, having a look at the work I've done so far. I really like it. It's just really hard to do. So the branch on the right-hand side here, it's kind of reaches a little more skyward, parts of it. It's definitely, I can get it more horizontal, that's for sure, but there's going to be some cutting on it. Okay. So this branch comes up and it divides 1 to 2 and to 2 again, and they're all very nice. I do have this one kind that comes up. I could replace it with this more horizontal one here, which I think I should, because this one's coming up into the kind of the secondary branch area. It's too high. So I'm going to start by pruning that part of the branch off. So I'll just do a rough cut first, like that, and then I'll come in and clean it up. Like that. So now you can see it kind of sweeps upwards and then goes dead horizontal. So I've got to prune it back short to get some more movement in it, otherwise it looks a little strange. So here I go. I think I'm going to prune it back to here for now. Right to here. Here I go. Okay, well, bit of a strange looking branch, but it'll smooth out, I'm sure, in the future. Now, so I have 2 branches come up here. They all divide nicely. They're just a little tall. So I think I've got to start reducing the vertical part of the branches, the tips here, and get them shorter. So I'll take off a lot of this vertical growth. Bring this back to here. There's one coming from the inside of a curve here. Get rid of that. Prune back this one. There's a vertical part here I can remove. That's gone. Take the tip off here. Reduce this back. Reduce this back. Reduce this back. I've got a division here. It's a very tight Y shape here, and I don't think it kind of goes vertical, and then I could prune this more vertical one off the middle. I think I will. I think it looks a little funny. So here I go, and there's a parallel branch right behind it, which I don't really like. So it's coming off that part of it. I'll just rough prune it and then come in and clean it up. Like that. So that's a little better. You can see it there. Now, I'm thinking, see how this branch divides into two here? I'm thinking of removing this entire upright middle section here. It's a big cut. It's got to be done. This branch fans out nicely. This one's just kind of not in a good position. So off it comes. Wow, that's a big cut. But the tree's going to look better for it. So here I go. There's a cutting. Look at that. Wow. Okay, let me get that pruning point cleaned up. That's looking good. And the tree looks much better for it. There's a view of it. It's much cleaner in this area. I like it. Now, of course, I'm not done yet. This other branch, again, I have a division of two here, and this one goes very upright. I could prune that off and just keep this one. It would definitely look better. It wouldn't go so high up in the canopy. I have to do it. So, here I go. I'll rough cut it. So there's that branch. And then I'll clean it up. They're cutting a tree down in the neighborhood. I saw them getting set up, so I may have to wait a bit till the chainsaws are a little quieter. But I think that branch has come a long way. This branch here, it's nice and clean. It's lower looking. Yeah. I think I've got to prune this straight section shorter. It looks a bit awkward. So I'll do a Hail Mary cut on it. Well, I've got a shoot here. I'll prune it back to there. And then I'll see what grows here and make it, another decision then. I'm liking this. You're seeing the thicker branches now. I can get some fine ramification off them. It shows off my branch structure better. So the next branch I'm going to tackle is this huge one at the back here. The one with the thick aerial root coming off of it. So I've got two very strong upright branches growing way up into the canopy. And I've got to do something about that. I want to take a bit of vigor out of those branches. So I'll look at it. It's quite thick, so I'm thinking I've got a branch here that could be the new branch leader. I could take the whole top off. Quite a drastic change. I think that's where I should start. So I will. So here I go. This is a big change. So I'm taking the whole top off here. I just have to get in there. Rough cut it. Here I go. Oh, wow. Big cut. And then let me have a look at it. Yeah, it looks much better without that big thick branch going up into the apex. I got to clean this cut up, so I will. There we go. Nice cut. Okay, so there's what it looks like. Oh, wrong side. There's what it looks like now. Much better. And then I've got to do the same with the other thick one. This one here. So I have a nice branch leader here. That would be perfect. So I'm going to take the upper part of this one off too. Another big cut. So here I go. Again, I'll rough cut it first. Oh, there goes that branch. And then I'll clean it up. I think that's pretty good. Let me see it from the front. Yeah, that's not bad. Now, I have a branch in here. It grows from here, and there's an aerial root fused to it, and it kind of bent the branch down. And I thought, should I leave that as a feature? And I'm looking at it now thinking, maybe not. It kind of crosses over top of all these other branches here. And again, it just kind of clutters the design up. I could cut it off short and try and develop something out the back of the tree from that branch. So maybe get a shoot coming out the back. That might be the best option. There goes the wood chipper. I'll do that, then we'll take a break. So I'm cutting it off right here. Here I go. That's gone. And if something develops, I'll develop it out this direction. If this branch just dies off, well, it dies off. Okay, so there's how the tree is. We'll take a break till they're done their tree cutting, and then we'll come back.